going on, everybody? I want to welcome you back to Angie Uploaded. I am Angie, and I want to apologize for not uploading a video last week. I did have a medical procedure. I am up and going now, so I'm going to give you the video that you have been waiting for. So without further ado, today I'm going to talk to you about Todd Kohlhepp. Now, Todd Kohlhepp, he's a serial killer. And he's one that I've actually never heard of. And I am super shocked by this because, like you guys, I am a true crime enthusiast. I've studied up on serial killers, and I am one of those that want to know the why, the whats, the wheres, and how I missed Todd, I'll never know. Todd Kohlhepp was born March the 7th, 1971 in Florida, though he was raised in Georgia and South Carolina. His parents divorced when he was 2, and his mom got remarried when he was 3. It says a year later, so I'm assuming 3 could be 4. His mom would go on to marry 9 times, but 2 of those were to the same man. And I only say this because he says it in a part of an interview. I don't know if he's trying to disassociate himself or trying to pass the blame, but I included it. There you go. So his real dad went MIA for about 8 years. And when he come back to reconnect with Todd, Todd wanted to go live with him. He didn't get along with his stepdad, and he felt that that would be a great thing. But Mom didn't want him to go. So she bought him new furniture for his bedroom. And he was so angry that he didn't get to go with Dad at the time that he took a claw hammer and totally destroyed the furniture. Okay. Mom would also go on to say that he showed early signs of aggression as early as nursery school, that he would be aggressive to the kids and destroy their property. She would also say that he was cruel to animals, that he wanted a gerbil, and he had a goldfish. And so she had said no. So he killed the goldfish by putting Clorox in the water so he could get the gerbil. Though in an interview, Todd would say that he was 12 years old and he couldn't go out to play until the fish tank was clean, or the fish bowl. It was a bowl, not a tank, so he says. And so he thought you put chlorine in a pool. Well, there's chlorine and Clorox. So he thought if you put a little bit in the water, it would clean the bowl. There are a lot of things that Todd says in an interview, and I will have both parts of that linked below if you would like to go listen to it. If you believe any of it, that's completely up to you. I think it's a hit or miss, honestly. I think it's a well done interview, but not by him, by the interviewer. So anyway, he says he was not cruel to animals. He had animals. He loved animals. And he was also into graphic content of a risque nature. We'll say it that way for YouTube. Like overly into it. And I know at 12 years old right there, that hormones, that kind of thing, but it said that he overindulged. He would downplay it because it was mentioned in the interview, but there it is. Well, in 1983, he was sent to Arizona to live with Bio Dad. Now, Bio Dad enjoyed weapons collecting and making and blowing things up. And Todd got into collecting and, the other hobby as well. But even though they shared something, it still did not have the relationship that Todd wanted. So it would deteriorate due to Dad's absences and his constantly being with different females, girlfriends. On November the 25th, 1986, Todd was 15 years old, and he kidnapped or lured a 14-year-old girl to his house at 22 point. Bound her and taped her mouth. He would essay her and told her that if she told anyone, that he would come back and kill her younger siblings. And then he walks her home. But luckily, she did tell. And Todd was charged with kidnapping and committing dangerous crime against children. In 1987, he pled guilty to kidnapping. The other charge was thrown out, but he was sentenced to 15 years in prison, and he had to register as a sex offender. He was released in 2001, and he would move back to South Carolina to live with his mom. While he had been in prison, though, he had obtained a bachelor's degree in computer science. And from January of 2002 to November of 2003, he worked as a graphic designer. Now, in 2003, he began studies at Greenville Technical College there in South Carolina. And a year later, he would transfer to the University of South Carolina upstate. And in 2008, he would graduate with another bachelor's degree, and this would be in business administration and marketing. So he wasn't academically and brain smarts, he had it, right? So then he obtains his real estate license. And he was able to do this by lying on the application, because if you're a convicted felon and obviously a registered SO, you can't get a real estate license. But he lied on the application, and he was passed his test, and he was given the license. And he would go on to build a very successful real estate firm, TKA, which is Todd Kohlhepp and Associates. And he would have 12 employees, agents, under him. And some of those agents would go on to say that he was very aggressive in the workplace, and even partook openly in watching risque movies in front of everybody. But he was also the top 8 selling agent in the Carolina region. Todd has a gift of gab, and I think most narcissists do. And this guy is the epitome of narcissism. Please go watch the interview, linked below. Anyway, he also got his private pilot's license to fly a plane, and obtained some properties, several properties out of state. So he's got rental properties, and he managed properties for a fee. So in May of 2014, Todd purchased, it was right at 100 acres. It's a big piece of property. He paid right at $306,000 for this property. And then he had an $80,000 fence installed around the property. He would also frequent a Waffle House locally, and his behavior, you know, innuendos and just weirded out the waitresses there, right? So when he would come in, the cook would actually end up taking his orders because they had freaked these waitresses out. He had freaked these waitresses out that much. And waitresses can take a lot because they're given, you know, a lot of crap. So he must have been awful. And one of these waitresses, her name was Megan McCraw Coxey. Now, Megan had had her own share of troubles in her life, as we all do, some worse than others, along with her husband, Johnny Coxey. And Todd would go on to say that he saw them panhandling over on I-26 there in South Carolina, and that he rolled the window down and asked Megan if she needed a job, that he would pay her, and gave her his business card, told her to call him, and he would explain the job. And what the job entailed was cleaning the rental properties and getting them ready. And he may have needed some help clearing out some of the things around his new property. So Megan and Johnny probably were looking to get some quick cash, you know, and so Megan brought, you know, she called him, and she would say, well, I'm going to bring my husband along, and that's fine. It's it's one rate. You can pay him how you want to. So anyway, the two of them are picked up. They are going to the rental property to pick up all of the cleaning supplies because he keeps everything out there. And there are two versions of this story. But there's really only one person that can tell it, and that would be Todd. So I think the truth, either way it goes, murder has occurred. Okay, so around December the 18th, Johnny would get shot in the torso and pass away. And then on the 22nd of December, and all of this is in 2015. So on the 22nd of December, they were reported missing. And there's flyers up and stuff. On December the 25th or the 26th, though Todd says it was the 25th. I don't know why he would lie about the date, but and the coroner backs it up. The coroner says 25th or 26th. But anyway, Megan was shot in the head, and she passed away. Todd would say that he heard them plotting to rob him, and that's why he shot Johnny. And then he didn't know what to do with Megan. He was gonna let her go. He's gonna give her some money. This is his tale. He was gonna give her some money, take her like Tennessee or something, and said, "Don't ever come back to South Carolina. You just stay away from me." But on Christmas Day, he went to check on her, and she had set the building on fire. Because he had been housing her in a shipping container there on his property. She was chained to the back part of the shipping container, and he would say he brought her food and anything she wanted, really. But when he got there, she had set it on fire, and it just flew all over him, and he shot her and killed her and buried her about 20 feet away in another here's Johnny, here's Megan, both in shallow graves. And he carries on. Goes back home because he doesn't live on this property. He has another home. Now, on August the 31st, 2016, Todd had reached out to his partner's ex-girlfriend and asked her if she would like to make some money helping to clean up the brush and help around the new property. So she agreed, and she would bring her boyfriend. Okay, her name was Kayla Brown, and the boyfriend's name is Charlie Carver. Now, again, there are differing stories on this, but we'll just say now they were eventually reported as missing as well. And at one point in time, there are helicopters and there's a drone that's actually flying over the property. The cell phone pings had them last seen or noted at this property per the ping. So he had actually been questioned about it and said, yeah, they were here, but I dropped them off, you know. Investigators eventually got a warrant, and they were able to search, you know, the big property. So they have maps drawn out, and they're looking all over this 100-acre property. Now, I told you that there is a shipping container. Well, right next to the shipping container is like a shack little storage shed. So they go into the shed and they find nothing there but regular gardening tools. But they hear this banging, and it's coming from this shipping container. Well, this shipping container has chains and padlocks all around it. And so they finally get the padlocks off and are able to open up the shipping container. Well, what they find when they open the shipping container is Kayla chained by her neck like a dog collar in the back of the container.
Right up on it. Get one video it. Yes. Pull that one first. All right, let them get ready. Y'all ready? Come on, guys. Back. It's jammed in here. Give me that crowbar back. Where's that? Get that big crowbar in. Right here. John, put it out here. Yeah, behind there. Watch out. Y'all move. I got it. Watch out, boss. Hey, Joey. Sheriff's officer. What? Back up there. Just one. Are you okay? Grab what? Go. Do you have any weapons? Coming through, okay? What's your name? What's your name, man? Lauren. Okay. All right. Just a girl. Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is bolt cutters. This is our investigator. He's a paramedic. Oh yeah. Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay. Just hang loose for me. Anybody got I need a handcuff key. Handcuff key. I got it right here. Hold up. Y'all slide back. Hold on. He's got a light. We got to take pictures. Randy, let me see your light, Randy. You can put your hands down, sweetheart. You're okay. We're here. Okay. Yes, sir. Just sit back for me. Light on or off? You're fine. We'll get the rest of it here. Let's get her out of here. Okay. We're getting bolt cutters, honey. Don't. You got pictures of the cuffs? No, hold on. Bolt cutters. It's both feet.
Just one.
Let me see.
It's attached to a chain on the wall, and my neck's attached to the wall up here.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get you out, sweetheart. Okay. You got a handcuff key. I got one's in my car. One's under my car. Gloves on when I did that. No big deal. Bolt cutter. No big deal. Just hit the chain right there, loose. Hold it up. Yeah. Just right there at her hand, Brandon. We'll get it off. We'll get it off here. Cut it right here. Do you know where your buddy is?
Charlie?
Yes.
He shot him.
He shot him?
Who did?
Douche.
Todd Kohlhepp shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, put him in the bucket of the tractor, locked me down here, and I never seen him again.
Okay.
He says he's dead and buried. He says there's several bodies dead and buried out here, and he says that the dogs will be ruined if they go looking because there's red pepper.
We're gonna step you up, sweet. Because there's what?
Red pepper.
Okay.
Tell the dog people that.
He says
No,
there's pepper everywhere around the
And they're trying to assure her, you know, we're here to help you. And they ask her, what about your friend? Where's Charlie? And Kayla says, quote, he shot him. The cop says, who? Kayla says, quote, Todd Kohlhepp shot Charlie Carver 3 times in the chest, wrapped him in a blue tarp, and put him in a bucket on the tractor, and that was the last, and I never saw him again, end quote. So while they're tending to Kayla, there's another set of investigators that are over at Todd's actual house. So they inform the investigators, these investigators inform these investigators that they have found Kayla, she's alive, that she's been held captive in this shipping container. So these investigators let Todd know, hey, we have Kayla. So they ask him some questions. He's not talking, you know, attorney. So he's arrested right then. And this takes place on November the 3rd of 2016. So while they're transporting Kayla, you know, she begins telling another story. Evidently, Todd, because Todd loves to talk. Oh my gosh, you've got to watch that video. But anyway, he had told her a story about another murder that he had committed back in 2003 in Chesney, South Carolina. And this was at Superbike Motorsports. So it was a motorcycle shop that specialized in crotch rockets motorcycles. And this had actually been a cold case for 13 years, unsolved, and it was all true. Okay? 4 people were shot dead at the motorcycle shop. They could never find out who did it. Well, he basically confessed to Kayla. So the people on November the 6th of 2003, there were 4 people shot, and that would be Scott Ponder, the owner, Beverly Guy, Scott's mom, Chris Sherbert, which was the mechanic, and Brian Lucas, which was the shop manager. Now, Todd would go on to say something about he had bought a bike that he really didn't know how to drive. He did not know how to control it. It was a very large bike for a first timer, and he tried to take it back, and they laughed at him because he said he was looking for something smaller to learn on. So they laughed at him, and he eventually left the store. Then he says that the bike come up missing, and he goes to the shop saying, you know, he thinks they stole it. Anyway, they're still laughing at him, and he claims that Brian said, well, what the F are you going to do about it? Yeah, we took it, which I don't believe any of that. I do believe there was an altercation and that he left and went back, but I don't know how much I believe about the details. I do not believe that they went and stole this bike back from this man, but I wasn't there. I don't know. So, anyway, he goes in the bike shop, and he says that he didn't know that Beverly was there, that she was in the bathroom, that he had completely planned on taking out Scott Ponder, Brian Lucas, and Chris Sherbert. There was a customer in there with a child, and he doesn't believe in harming kids, and so he waited for them to leave, and then as soon as they left, he says he started with Chris Sherbert, who was leaned over a bike, said that he pop out the head, and then when he was going out this way, out towards the front, because he was in the back, so when he's going out this way, that you've got Scott and Brian behind him coming towards him, and then Beverly comes out of the bathroom, so he's like faced with both, all of them. So then he gets Beverly, and then Scott and Brian, and they all pass away. And that was an ongoing mystery, because it was 13, and they would have never solved it, right? But he had to. And when they got him in the interrogation room, you had one investigator that was talking about Kayla, and, you know, and he had also told her that there were, besides Charlie, that there were 2 other bodies on the property. So you had one investigator pressing him about those bodies, and you had one investigator talking to him about the superbike shop. And he's confessing, right? I mean, he is singing like a bird now, because it's like he is on a main stage, he is the main person, and all he wants to talk about is what he did, how he did, and he's very, very matter of fact about it. So he lets them know about Megan and Johnny and where they can be located. But here's another little part, is that he tells them that he has done more, and they even went out to search a wooded area and couldn't find 2 bodies, so they think that he's just fluffing his numbers, as killers will sometimes do. So you really don't know whether to believe it or not. He has said that he has committed others in Juarez, Mexico, because you know he had the pilot's license. So yeah, he's definitely said that he's done more, and that they're not listening to him. Now, another tidbit before I let you guys go. Todd loved leaving odd Amazon reviews on products. For instance, I will show some. He did one for a master padlock that said solid locks, have 5 on a shipping container, won't stop them, but will slow them down until they are too old to care. And then there's a set of padlocks, and it says my locks have locks, places Hotel California now. And if you remember the Eagle song, Hotel California, you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. Then there was one that had a knife on there. It says, haven't stabbed anyone yet, but keeping the dream alive. When I do it, it will be with a quality knife like this. There's one for a shovel, a chainsaw, all of the items that he used to commit some of these crimes. It is bizarre. And I will leave things linked below. I'll try to show everything that I can within the video. But guys, what do you think about this? Have you heard about this one? Because I had not. And it really blew my mind. And about some of the things he would just say and do. I feel horrible for these victims. I feel horrible for their families. And he's right where he needs to be. If we're not giving out death penalties for stuff like this. So let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Remember, be kind. And go ahead and like this video. It helps me out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. With the exception of last week, because of my little medical mishap. I put out a true crime video once a week. So I would love to see you come back and say hello. But again, guys, thank you for watching. My name is Angie, and I have just uploaded.